Hey y'all, it's July the 12th, 2017. I'm trying to get stuff situated, trying to figure out all the angles. It appears as though I'm live on the internet today. And I should be coming in pretty decently, I would hope. Alright, a lot more decently than last night. Last night was very educational. But at the same time, me and some other people done wasted our time for about an hour, to include Courtney Elwell. And I want to shout her out and stuff, man. Shout out to Courtney Elwell. Somehow or another, stranger to me, she stumbled into the live broadcast and she caught a whole bunch of gibberish. Alright, and that was terrible. Alright, I want to briefly explain that. I explained this last night, but again, it was in all gibberish. I want to explain that, my technology isn't the best. That's what I'm figuring out. And as far as my own personal computer, oh no, it can't do live streams or anything like that. That's crazy. And then I got access to a different computer through a friend and stuff, and that computer's too old. It can't do no live streams or anything like that. I realized a while back that pretty much my cell phone's the only thing that really can do it. Cell phones are built with that sort of technology because they want you to be out and about filming yourself and taking selfies and stuff like that. So they make sure that you have all the live stream technology upon the cell phones, and this is actually a pretty old cell phone that I'm on right now. It's a Samsung Galaxy like S3 or G3 or something. I didn't buy it. I got it from a friend. So, anyways, this is probably the best technology that I have right now. And one of the big things that I want to see if I can figure out right now is whether or not I could see what's going on in the chat room. Just in case if anybody is out there right now. Maybe you're spending the morning with me right now for no real good reason. Maybe you are. And maybe you want to put some stuff in the chat room and that gets to me. I want to see that. So hold on one second. I'm going to push a button and the button might make a loud noise. Alright. See, there's a button here on my cell phone. It lets me know if there's any chat history. It's saying that there's no chat history in there right now to speak of. If there was somebody that said something in the chat, hopefully the cell phone would tell me about it. Alright? But see, that's the tip top of my technology is what I gotta explain to y'all out there, and I'm working on it. And with time, we're going to get to more and more technology, and I'm working on it. But the thing is, I think I can chat, or I can probably see the chat room when I'm doing the whole internet live stream thing, but I really sincerely doubt that I can do a split screen or something like that and share with people, which is ultimately something that, I'm very interested in doing. In fact, just real briefly, that is the future of entertainment, actually. The whole live stream thing, a lot of people are not aware of it yet. But it's something like Fahrenheit 457 or whatever that book was called. You know what I'm saying? When basically you're going to find friends through this screen. It's the internet, alright? You find a lot of people. And I have to explain to you that, shoot, man, if you have any sort of success, and me, I'm overflowing with success. If you have any sort of success, you're going to meet new people all the time through this, right? And you're going to bounce ideas off each other. It's going to be a beautiful thing. You might even want to have a split screen. You could talk to one person. I've seen people talk to 7 different people at the same time. And every time someone says something, oh man, their picture pops up and then you see them talking and stuff. It's just like CNN or whatever back in the day when they would have the different screens. When people watched them, and they don't anymore, ever again. They're turned into the internet, right? And we're basically getting the capabilities of doing all that by ourselves. How we want. I've seen people do it. It is the future of entertainment, all right? Because not only is it very interesting, people are diving into the nittiest of gritties, way down the rabbit hole or they dive in. Not only that, but you can actually interact with them in live time on the internet, all right? And they can react to you. They can see what you, if you have a valid point, boo, you just throw it out there. This was never a possibility with the television, all right? And that's why the television is obsolete. It's complete garbage. It always was garbage, actually, right? Because now we have a way to be interactive, things like that. All right, I wanted to bring that up. It is the future. It is the future, by the way. And there's plenty of different live streams that people are setting up that are quite entertaining, quite educational, and it definitely give you perspectives on how other people are thinking. You could see debate after debate after debate after debate, if that's the kind of thing that you like. And that is the kind of thing that I like. I'm going to see if I could press this button. Alright, get that out of the way. Every once in a while, I might check, see if anybody's in the chat room. Now, I don't expect anybody to be in the chat room, really, because I didn't schedule this. I didn't let anybody know it's going to happen. You know, it's in the middle of the week, in the morning time. A lot of people, you know, they're off doing their own thing, or they might not even be awake yet. And so I figured, you know, shoot, I'm going to see just how smoothly this goes. See how much luck I have with technology today. Alright, we're not going to try anything, like I said, out of the ordinary. We're not going to try any of these tricks. Really, we're just going to see if this works. We're just going to see if the internet will work for us today. Alright, in technology. Alright, shoot. You know, it's definitely an assortment of things that we can go over today, talk about. Me personally, I've gotten pretty scatterbrained over the past few days, to be honest with you. I'm all over the place, alright? And, you know, as far as the news goes, it's pretty much all over the place, too. You guys, I have to tell you. It's hard to buckle down on what's the more important pressing issues of the day, as far as nationally, because I know a lot of people over the nation will probably see this, and across the world. Alright, it's hard to really buckle it down. I do have to say pedophilia is no good. And that probably would be the theme of a lot of stuff that we talk about on this here broadcast. And it's because we need solutions. Alright, we're tired of all this pedophilia, and it's not acceptable, and it never will be acceptable. So we need to talk about that sort of stuff, man. You know, an issue that came up last night was actually Caitlyn Nicole Davis, and Kayla Nicole Davis actually comes up a lot of the times. She'll come up a lot. Pretty popular subject, alright, and we've been covering that for quite some time. Courtney or Elwell, she hollered at me about the whole Caitlyn Nicole Davis thing, because that's how she actually found my channel. It's actually a way that a lot of people found my channel, to be honest with you. Alright, very popular subject material. Alright, a lot of y'all probably already know, so I'm not really going to get into it. But, shoot, Courtney Elwell was talking about, you know, developments, I guess, as far as Caitlyn Nicole Davis goes. Now, as you might be aware, it's been about 7 months, alright? It's been about 7 months, and something else that I might want to draw your attention to is lots of times, and even in the most brutal of heinous of cases, you know, lots of times, these things stretch out for years and years and years. So, like, it's dang near a decade. I've seen it where it's stretched out a whole decade as far as trials, as far as convictions and things like that. And you know what? I do have to point out that that's sincerely and totally unacceptable, alright? And that might be something that we might want to think about as far as, you know, getting fast, speedy, efficient trials on the way, alright? And I'll remind you that Donald Trump, he done said this a long, long time ago on the Twitter. He said, you know what, as far as these perverts go, as far as, you know, you're doing stuff with children, you go to jail. Not only that, actually fast trial, death penalty you, because we're tired of you. All right, that's Donald Trump's sentiment. All right, I understand that there's a lot of people who are going to disagree with Donald Trump on this and that. Me too. I also disagree with Donald Trump on this and that. All right. However, Donald Trump, this is an area in which we're going to happen to agree upon. Alright, and I just have to put that out there. It's been public knowledge for a long time. Donald Trump said, as far as these perverts, they like to touch on little kids. You know what? Fast trial, death penalty. We're done with you. We're tired of you. Alright, that's what Donald Trump said, and I can't help it 100% all the way totally agree with him on that one. Alright? And we need to think about that because our justice system, although it's what you would call Western culture, it's what you would call sophisticated, it's what you would call anti-rape and things like that. Our justice system is going too slow. Alright? And it's freaking obvious. 7 months. Here's the thing. I don't think anybody's really gonna get arrested over this Caitlyn Nicole Davis thing. That's the thing about it. I have to let y'all know, and I've been letting y'all know. I don't think nobody's gonna get arrested over the Caitlyn Nicole Davis thing. To be honest with you, and that sounds really not good. 1 second. Good morning. Dang, it's Courtney Elwell again. Shit, things are working much better. Yeah, I know, Courtney. You might see later on the recording that I had to use my cell phone. That's what I figured out. I have a couple different computers to work from. Neither one of them ain't shit, right? So, like, thing is, I had to use a cell phone in order to have some sort of, decent broadcast. Anyways, we were talking about what we were talking about last night, Courtney. Alright, as far as the whole Caitlyn Nicole Davis thing, the thing is, I'm pretty aware that you might not even have heard anything that I had to say on the subject anyways. And I don't know how familiar you are with the other videos on my channel as far as the conclusions that I've drawn personally about the Caitlyn Nicole Davis thing. As far as I do not honestly see any convictions going to be made in the future. I would love for there to be, honestly, I mean, if you see my videos, I would love for everybody to be convicted, to be honest with you. Everybody involved. I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 different people. I want to see them all go to jail, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, that does not seem like it's what's going to be happening at all, right? And this kind of a thing happens all too often, right? Because we need to tune up our justice system. Meanwhile, I do have to point out that it's painfully obvious, right? That we need to tune up our justice system. Meanwhile, you have people talking about this, that, and the other thing, right? Stupid stuff that really, silly stuff, to be honest with you. Doesn't really make any difference necessarily. They'll be concentrating on silly stuff. Meanwhile, gosh dang it, if it's not some perverts in and around this whole dang situation, there's all sort of people abusing children. I don't know if Courtney Elwell has any affiliation with Caitlyn Nicole Davis. If she does, man, let me know because that'd be interesting. I've been hearing different perspectives in and around Caitlyn Nicole Davis things, such as her father, Matthew Reed. You hear crazy stuff that Tammy's typing in on the damn internet, on Facebook and stuff. Just insane type of stuff. I've heard of from an aunt that was actually on this one lady's podcast the other day, and I forget what this lady's name is, but she has blonde hair and she's semi-viral, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I saw an interview the other day with that kind of stuff, and it was all very interesting. It was all very inspiring to see how many people are actually searching for justice. They have a thirst in them. And that's very inspiring. They have a thirst in them for justice. We need justice, alright? Thing is, something to meditate on is the fact is justice comes regardless. There is no getting out of it. Alright? Unfortunately, here on this earth, the way it's been is a lot of people skirt justice. As far as, our legal system and things like that, a lot of people get away with it. Yes, I administer, oh, okay. Well, that's cool, man. It's good that you do that. I know you were trying to point me out to, different Facebook groups and stuff like that. And it would be cool to see that sometimes. I have to admit to you that me personally, I do go on my Facebook to post up, say, YouTube videos, and I skim through the Facebooks from time to time, and I do see a lot of those Caitlyn Nicole Davis pages. And like I gotta say, and I've said it before, that is where you're gonna find justice. Like, did you see the interview with Jamie Fisher? That's the lady who I'm talking about Anthony Rogers pending arrest. Yeah, you know what? I think that I did see Jamie Fisher, Courtney. I saw Jamie Fisher the other day, and she was talking to this lady, alright, I forget, it was like maybe some sort of aunt or some sort of relation to Caitlyn and Nicole Davis, and so she knew all sort of information about the pending arrest. That's the thing about it, all right? Because here's the thing. We all know in our hearts that at very least this man should be indicted and put on trial. We can't say he's guilty because no one's guilty until proven guilty in the court of law. All right? So we all know in our hearts this fool should go on trial immediately. And the thing is, I had to let you know, the police feel the exact same. Oh, see, you know what? I wanted to say that you might be the lady in the car, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to say that because y'all look. I mean, you look like you're that lady. But see, I didn't want to say that. It sounds stupid. All right. So yeah, I did see y'all's interview, and I noticed how the stream, even with Jamie Fisher, even with her technology, which is assuredly better than mine, even then, you know, there was technical difficulties and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that we got to work through. And hopefully we can get through it, man, because this is very important. So anyways, okay, you're the lady in the car. I forget what exactly your relation to Caitlyn Nicole is. I remember something where you're pretty well intimate. You know the situation pretty well. And, I did mention last night that I thought it was very interesting when you brought up that testicular cancer, something like that. I thought I heard something about some sort of testicular cancer. I don't know, I could have been mistaken, but I would like for you to, if you can, just elaborate that on that a little bit. I want to find out about that. And I remember you saying that he was read his Miranda rights, basically, by somebody. Alright, what I want to stress is that us as people, we know in our hearts, dude, Anthony Lee Rogers ain't shit, alright? So, we know this. The police know this too. They're going to try everything in their best, in their power. I'm telling you, they really will, to get this guy in handcuffs, put him in a court somewhere. I don't doubt that every single police officer there wants that to happen. I really don't doubt it. All right. However, what I brought up in this other video was the economic side of it, unfortunately, because lots of times, and police will tell you this too, lots of times they take the perpetrator in, and then throw them to the mercy of the courts, and then the courts do whatever, and the courts will maybe throw that person back out on the streets real soon, or give them, anything below in jail forever, honestly, would be a light judgment, right? And you're not going to get that as well. You're not going to get that at all. Thing is, the economics are going to come into this whole situation, unfortunately, and I hate the whole idea of it, but so many thousands and thousands of dollars will have to be spent on making sure this all comes to fruition the way it should. Is there enough thousands and thousands of dollars? I'm not sure. There is enough attention on it because there's a lot of people's attention on it. It's a very popular story. Alright, so as far as if we could turn that attention into dollars and make sure it happens, I wonder. But however, like I brought up, although I personally don't see it likely just because the hard evidence is not gonna be there, and that's terrible. Right? Although I don't see that coming to fruition. I found it, I giggled a little bit, to be honest with you, when you brought up the testicular cancer. Anthony has not cooperated, stating his testicular cancer has returned. I wouldn't doubt it, you know what I'm saying? But see, here's the thing about it. Yeah, that is justice. See, a lot of people don't believe in God. A lot of people don't believe in Jesus and stuff like that. And, you can believe in whatever you want. I'll still be your friend and everything like that. We could be very friendly. Thing is, justice is going to happen regardless. That's one thing that we can all dwell upon, and I think, it's going to help us all out. Courtney Elwell says, however, he is still working full-time. I am no family relation to Caitlyn. All right, well that's cool, but you seem to have your ear to the ground, like you're very nearby or something like that. I know a lot of people who ain't related to me, who will know my personal life very well. So whatever you wanna add to this would be cool. And then later, hopefully, maybe we could have a stream. Can you imagine? Imagine this. You, me, what's her name? Celeste Who Knows, and Jamie Fisher, and several other people, because there's other prominent names in this whole thing coming together in a chat room, like say of 8 people, and really just trying to understand what's going on, get down to the nitty gritty, become very united on our front. We're going to see justice regardless. All right. First of all, God's going to have justice. All right. This testicular cancer thing doesn't really shock me or surprise me or anything like that. All right. Dude, really, some would argue he shouldn't have testicles. All right, and God's kind of seen to that probably. More than likely, either that or he's lying about it. Either way, nobody escapes justice. And at the same time, I did want to reiterate that I believe that what you're doing, as far as the Facebook pages and things like that, I think that is justice. That's the closest thing that we're going to get to justice on this case in the near future, because Caitlyn's not going to be forgotten. Her story's not going to be forgotten. Problem is, will we as a community of people, will we learn from what we've been taught through this story? Will we be able to relate our personal day-to-day lives with this story and see how, maybe we can look inside of ourselves and change ourselves? Are we going to do that? Because that would be the ultimate justice, all right? To never forget this name. To never forget how this all started. I mean, if I were to briefly, and I've done this before in videos, I'm not sure what videos you've seen, but to briefly summarize the situation and the build-up of this whole thing, this whole miserable tragedy. It's every sort of sexual deviancy that you could imagine. Alright? I mean, since her birth, and the thing is, shoot, I have my past, and it ain't perfect. I'll tell you that right now. Thing is, this little girl, she ain't never really, in my perspective, from what I've seen, she ain't never really seen the morally upstanding people that people used to see back in the past. Basically, people getting married, having children, looking after their children, having grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and stuff like that. Seems as though justice is not a spectator sport. It surely isn't. We are better together. We can all make a difference. I mean, that's very inspiring, Courtney. And that is the truth. In fact, if you're not familiar with some other stuff that I've been talking about, here on this channel, a lot of the times, it is technology. It's this sort of technology. We're going through what you would call a communication renaissance, right? In a way that we can communicate with each other like never ever before. And communication is actually what births justice, right? Because when people know what other people know, justice comes regardless, right? So, yeah, I mean, I do believe we're going to make a difference, all sort of difference, now that we can communicate on such a crazy, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I don't have the technology necessarily, but I can get some. I think we will make a difference. But I would like to hear, I mean, I know I was being a little bit long-winded about it, but I would like to hear other people's, what they drew from this story. Like, now that they know this story, and we're still getting to the bottom of all the details, what is the main moral to this story? If you had to briefly summarize it in one sentence, what did you take away from this entire situation, as far as something that's just plain unacceptable, that shouldn't be accepted, and meanwhile it's widely accepted throughout this whole nation and across the earth. This is a global epidemic, if you will. And who's to say if it's like any worse than it used to be? It's just we know for a fact that that is happening. We know for a fact that these things are happening right now. And it's terrible for our children. It's terrible for the future. Alright? It really isn't a spectator sport. The thing is, I can't say it ever has been a spectator sport. And the reason why I'll say that is because there's a lot of people, and there's always been a lot of people who will just plain ignore it or avoid it. And that's what they do with problems. They'll ignore the problem or they'll avoid a problem. And they'll think, maybe that's not even a real problem. Maybe, like, I got it misunderstood and none of this stuff's happening. And either way, it'll work itself out. All right? There's a lot of people who don't want to hear about current events or stuff on the news. Like, just for example, I know a lot of people watch television, and that's cool. It's a good way to, I don't know, entertain yourself. But, the news is actually much more crucial. In fact, it's much more scandalous, dude. It's like, gosh dang, everything's going on in the news, right? And a lot of people see and hear things that they didn't want to see and hear, and they'll avoid it, right? They'll avoid it, especially this pedophilia, especially the pedophilia. They've been doing that for the longest time. At this point, it's wide out in the open. It seems to be almost ubiquitous throughout these corrupt institutions that's going on. And not only that, in family life, you have disgusting weirdos like Anthony Lee Rogers trying to run, families, and that's disgusting. All right. Meanwhile, the public should be very well aware of these Anthony Lee Rogers running around. Dysfunctional relations kill. Courtney, Elwell, you know what? What you said right there, dysfunctional relations kill. Dang it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was getting at. That's exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. All right. Dysfunctional relations do kill. All right, and that's what we're all getting at here. We're getting at the fact that people's lives will get ended. Why? Because of dysfunctional relations. Now, you can. We all have the right to describe what's dysfunctional relations and what isn't. But however, we're at a point in a situation where we do have to draw a hard line. All right, and I've called for the LGBT community to come out there and say basically, guess what? We draw the line of pedophilia and all that other stuff. In fact, LGBT, to be honest, we never needed so many letters. All right, I mean, just call them gay folks, and that's cool if they're gay folks, and it's like nobody has a problem with anybody. You know what I'm saying? But we do need to draw hard lines. What is dysfunctional relations? What is it? What is it? We need to all agree upon it, basically. And I have my certain solutions that are in my head and stuff that I think about. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I've clearly stated all of them, but basically it's what's in the Bible, to be honest with you. And I could go into further detail. But, that's just my personal opinion, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. Well, I'm going to see if I can plug this in. My phone... God. My phone be losing battery. And it does it fairly quickly, so I was going to plug it in to make sure I can even get through the whole hour if that's what need be. Their issues are generational and started long ago. Courtney Elwell was talking about dysfunctional relations that are issues that are generational and are started long ago. It's almost as though Courtney Elwell is running my mind, basically, or my channel, so to speak. It seems as though she might be doing it because this is exactly what I've been talking about in my recent videos. It's what I've been dwelling upon as far as these, what you might could call curses, or you might could call lines of reasoning that are passed throughout the generations, in which we see the way and then we decide, nah, we'll do it some other different way. Well, and we're gonna be a little bit dysfunctional, some other different way, and we try to do that, and it does not work out. I'm talking about in my personal family tree. This has been going on for 2-3 generations, right? The pattern just continues, and then the children, they don't learn because they never saw complete and utter success. Now, complete and utter success would be a man, woman, they didn't have sex, they got married, then they had sex. Thing is, none of us are perfect. A lot of us, we did not go that way. We didn't know any better. We just didn't know any better, right? So we might have done it a different way. We might be happily married. Some of us might be divorced at this point. Here's the thing, all right? We didn't see enough successful examples, all right? So we didn't know which way we were going. We didn't know which way was up and down. And it's ridiculous, all right? So the generational issues, yeah, they do continue, and it's a pattern that has to be stopped. That's one thing that I want to talk about. That's why I bring it up. As far as what is the moral, I guess that would be the moral that Courtney Elwell was submitting, is that dysfunctional relations do kill. They absolutely do kill. Meanwhile, there's certain people who will go to the grave, all right, clenching with white knuckles to the idea of anything goes, everything is love. Why don't you just accept me? I'm not a monster. You're a monster. And I just happen to be attracted to children. Why you gotta hate on me? See, we've been dealing with these things for years now. To include what's his name, the most famous pedophile on all of Earth, Todd Nickerson. All right, we've been discussing that for years now. All right, and like we say, it's very widespread. Courtney Elwell says she doesn't watch TV. I don't blame you. It's like not even entertaining no more. And let me tell you something else. Me, just like pretty much everybody else, I was raised on television. Absolutely, I hardly went outside sometimes. You know, and the thing is, now that I'm grown up and I'm just really disgusted by television, I really hate to be around it for long periods of time. You know, I don't even remember what I used to watch on television. Isn't that a trip? Like, I spent most of my time in front of a television and don't remember any of it. All right, so I don't know. I mean, you could say maybe I wasted a big part of my life. I don't know. I don't know what I did, but I can't remember what I was doing when I was watching television. It's not really good for us. But, however, we got something better here. We got, you know what I'm saying, where all sort of people come together and entertain ourselves. Not only that, get down to the nitty-gritty, the absolute nitty-gritty of what's going on. But speaking of that, Courtney, like I said, this is an issue, this particular issue that we're not going to let go of. All right? This is an issue that happens all too often. All right? All too often. In fact, you probably know some people who something similar has happened to them. I definitely know some people something similar has happened to them. I know quite a number of people. All right? And so this needs to be, in essence, put a stop to. Right? And you really, like we were discussing, you can't really put a stop to a problem without recognizing where is the problem. What's the biggest part of the problem? I think a tree just fell on my roof. But anyways, what's the biggest part of the problem? Like, how can we take the biggest bite out of, I guess most of our problem would be the pedophilia. We don't like the pedophilia. And that's where we don't know where we draw the line. Maybe we draw the line here and there, but pedophilia is way down there and nobody accepts it. All right? So if that's what we're getting at, that, I suggest that it would be very important, and you probably already know. I bet you Courtney Elwell already knows full well about the mind control on the TV. Yeah, of course it is. That's what it was always meant to be. But Courtney Elwell probably knows full well about, the scandal that's going on in the Catholic Church right now. All right? And I don't know if Courtney Elwell is a Catholic. Me personally, I've come from... both sides of my family tree are actually Catholic. I guess you would say Roman Catholic. All right? Polish side and the Mexican side, both Catholic. They both met up somehow here in Texas. And that's my whole story or whatever. That's where I come from. All right? Meanwhile, it seems quite obvious, and it's been quite obvious for a long time, these Catholic priests are getting away with murder. All right? Basically, I mean, even worse, they're getting away with child rape. You know what I'm saying? That's become another hot topic once again because of all the scandal that's going on over there in the Vatican. And meanwhile, it makes me wonder just how many people are aware of this, aware of what's going on, all right? Everybody who's aware of Caitlyn, Nicole Davis, I'm proud of y'all, man, and keep up the good work. And I'm glad to see y'all out there and stuff at the same time. How many people are aware of the scandal that the Pope is in right now? The whole Vatican Church pretty much is in a civil war. And believe it or not, like it does happen a lot, it's a lot of pedophilia going on. A lot of pedophilia on both sides of this civil war, might I add. Both sides. Sorry about that, man. I gotta get some coffee in me. Alright, Courtney Elwell says, I know too many that have lived this same life as Caitlyn Nicole Davis. The abuse of children is unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much goes that fairly well. See what you're describing, Courtney Elwell, might have suggests, and I'm pretty sure you already know, it's Western culture. You know what I'm saying? In which the abuse of children is not acceptable. Alright? And it's not to say America's ever been perfect. We know that it hasn't. Alright? But abuse of children on any level is not acceptable. And meanwhile, we all know casualties. We all know prior victims of all this. The Catholic cover-up must be stopped. It's gone it's gone on too much too long. That's for certain. Because here's the thing, I'm about 30 years old, right? And I've been hearing about this Catholic pedophile just skirting justice, moving them from here to there. I've been hearing about that since before I can remember. All right, and you know, I couldn't tell you much about the previous pope as far as John Paul II, but as far as these past couple popes that we done had, they just look disgusting and creepy, dude. To be honest with you, they look like disgusting, creepy old man. Not only that, I mean, it's just becoming to the forefront. It's at this point that something absolutely is going to happen. That's the thing about it. A lot of us have been sitting on the sideline, like I said, for decades now, thinking, you know, when's justice going to be administered? These people are purporting to be people of God, in everybody's face, walking around with robes and stuff, looking like damn wrinkly old perverts. Right? When is justice going to be administered? We've all been sitting back and biding our time, thinking about, dang, one day there must be justice. Thing is, I gotta let you know that justice is coming real soon, actually, and it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting because I don't know if you know about the developments that have taken place just recently. All right, one of the biggest developments, if you are not aware of it yet, is the homosexual orgy that was broken up by Vatican police. I don't know, maybe it's probably less than 2 weeks ago. All right, a homosexual orgy of all sort of people, cocaine and the whole nine. All right, these people, you know, deacons and priests and stuff up in the dang Vatican Church and stuff, carrying on in such ways that actually got broke up by the police. Allegedly, ain't nobody like really in jail at this point, from what I understand and stuff. But here's the thing about it. Think about the situation. It's like, dude. Yeah, man. You see, that's what I gotta understand. This has been a long time coming. This Catholic Church thing. Courtney Elwell says she's been hearing about this kind of stuff since she was a young child. All right, and it's been happening. All right, and it's been covered up and stuff. What you gotta understand, obviously, is of course the Vatican is a very huge industry, and there's going to be factions involved. They're always going to be power grabbing and stuff, because when you think about mass religion in that way, it is all about dominance. There is nothing else. It is a game of dominance. Who's going to dominate over other people? And once you have domination, well, you get all the money, you get all the spoils, you do whatever you want, and you get away with whatever you want. All right, it's a game of dominance. All right, there's been all sort of factions. These factions are actually going to war with each other because, of course, they don't trust each other. Why? None of them are morally righteous. Like, none of them have anything to do with what Jesus says, and so they do the exact opposite. All right? And so, of course, they're going to bicker with each other. They're going to start a war with each other. They've gone too far. Here's the thing, what I got to explain. For decades, they've been trying to skirt justice. The Pope will move people from here and there and just say, you know what, shut up about this, all right? Have your little sassy wars with each other, power grab all you want. There's going to be behind the scenes violence and different other stuff, but you know what, just shut the hell up, all right? That's what the Pope says. Or, you know, that's what pretty much the council of all these cardinals and stuff, they say, you know what, you shut your damn mouths. Y'all are knees deep in a civil war. It's been that way. This is a corrupt system. It's been that way probably well over 100 years. Who knows how many hundreds of years, all right, being corrupt. These factions have been warring with each other. They want extreme, ultimate dominance over each other. Meanwhile, all their dominance, you know, it gets them thirsty for more dominance over people. They understand that people will let them do whatever they want. And soon it leads to this sexual indecency. I mean, you consider the fact that none of these priests have wives and stuff, dude. Isn't that disgusting and gross? The priest should have a wife, first of all. And I discussed this with people from overseas and stuff like that. And just for example, the Orthodox Church over there in Russia and stuff, you had to have a wife to be a priest, all right? So that's number one. And that's a whole different topic unto itself, all right? But shoot, man. All right, so The Catholic Church, they're knees deep up in a civil war, a power struggle, if you will. Problem is, they never came out about the sexual deviancy. On both sides, there was extreme sexual deviancy to a degree that you wouldn't want to imagine. All right, on both sides, on every side, in every faction, there is that because they become so thirsty for that drug of dominance over people. All right, so the situation was they would shut the hell up about it. They would have their war and their power grab, but they wouldn't implicate each other in these sexually crazy crimes that they were doing. They wouldn't implicate each other because they know that that's stepping it up a notch. That means that person will start implicating you in sexually deviant crimes, right? Once you start to talk about, hey, man, you got some little boys over there, and I heard some things, they're going to be like, you know what, I heard you have some little boys over there, and I heard some things. They all used to shut up about it, all right? What I explained about that whole incident where the Vatican police busted in on this homosexual orgy with cocaine and the whole nine is that was them basically being ratted out. One of their opposing their ops basically called the police and said, "Hey, you might want to go check it out. I heard there's some disturbances over at this and that building. You might want to check that out." They busted down the door, and guess what they found? These people knew that. They set them up to be found that way. So you gotta understand. Now it's gonna all start coming out. There is gonna be deaths. There already have been deaths regarding this. As far as now they're going to start outing themselves in a way that they never have before on the sexual level because now it's no holds barred. The gloves are off. Right? Meanwhile, they're going to wind up eating each other. Let's see. Practicing sex abuse against children in the name of God will result in huge consequences. That, I assure you, is absolutely the case. I think what we're seeing is the very beginnings of the Catholic Church just crumbling to the ground. And there's not nothing that they can do about it really necessarily because there's not a unifying factor there no more, right? The factions are definitely butting heads, right? They're not going to stop. Meanwhile, each one of them are into pedophilia, bestiality, and all sort of anything else that you can imagine. I promise you. All right? So the war's not going to end for them. They're going to take them themselves out in a way that we ain't never seen before. It's going to be completely unprecedented. All right, and it's very interesting. And I do want to tie that into, while we're talking about that, it's not exactly mainstream news or anything. Like, they don't bring it up on the television. I know me and Courtney don't watch the television. But they don't bring up the fact that since Donald Trump done eased up into the administration, they don't bring up the fact that, you know what, a lot of pedophiles coming to justice. A lot more than we're used to. A lot more than I've been hearing about over my whole lifetime. Now it starts to be an influx. Now it starts to see, I must start to see big old rings getting nabbed up. All sort of people getting nabbed up. All right? And just so happens that, you know, not only is this on a local level here in America, and you're seeing that it goes into every single city. Every single community, you're going to find some. You need to round them up. All right? Get rid of them. Basically, this is being somewhat green-lighted as far as Donald Trump and his policy. And like we mentioned before on his Twitter, he made it very clear how he thinks about perverts. He made it extremely clear how he thinks about a fast trial and the death penalty. And we're done with you. All right, so you got to imagine that he has some sort of agenda against them for some reason. All right, he's really not playing around. And you see all these people getting nabbed up. At the same time, across the world in the Vatican, you see people getting in a lot of heat. You see people getting in heat in Australia. That Cardinal Pell, who's like this with the Pope. All right, he's been accused of hundreds of instances. All right, this is so deep, this rabbit hole. All right, and then we're getting to the bottom of it. Even from across the world, we're hearing about it. All right, can't nobody deny it anymore. See, people love to be in the closet. It used to be. People love to. See, me personally, I have plenty of experience. Unfortunately, as far as current events goes, sometimes I'll bring up the fact that pedophilia is going on. It's a terrible problem in the whole country, and in fact the whole world. It's a terrible, terrible problem. This is happening, right? I think that we should all know about this, and we should identify this, and we should know that this is wrong. This is never going to be acceptable. Meanwhile, even if I don't say it that enthusiastically, even if I bring it up casually in a conversation, you'll notice that a lot of people get very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And it's not like I'm bringing it up to strangers or at Starbucks or anything like that. I'm talking about people who I'm close to, and I let them know, for all the problems that we all complain about in this world, man, and we all have all our little problems, and it's all kind of, honestly, it's really kind of trivial. For all our problems, man, there's people, there's little children who are getting abused, not only physically, but sexually sometimes, spiritually. Right? And I bring that up and people are like, oh man, it's not as, I don't like to think about that sort of thing. Oh, I don't like to think about it. Well, you know what? That's exactly how we got in that situation, unfortunately, by not thinking about it. Alright? And at this point, if you can even tie your shoes in the morning and leave out the front door, if you can turn on a computer, you can figure out that the Vatican ain't up to no good. Alright? And in fact, they're up to a monumental amount of no good. Alright? So it's going to become what you would call like a household topic. We really had to come out with it. See, here's the thing about it. I don't really necessarily trust nobody unless they're saying, you know what, we need to put a stop to this pedophilia. And even then, I don't necessarily trust people because you'll have pedophiles trying to slip in and infiltrate. The thing is, you have to be adamant about wanting to put a stop to pedophilia, basically. And I'm not saying that people have to prove it over the internet, but on a day-to-day basis in your life, man, what are you doing to stop this? Necessarily. And I think about that all the time as far as, shoot, what can I do in order to spread awareness, man? I mean, the thing is, it's getting really too easy to spread awareness about this sort of thing when you consider the Vatican. Everybody knows who the Pope is, who supposedly he's supposed to have authority on earth, and it doesn't seem like that's the case, right? Not only that, I mean, this is a very widespread problem in everybody's community, especially when you consider, these people in the Middle East. As far as these Muslim folks, they have sometimes some crazy things that they do. Some barbarous things that they do, alright? To include pedophilia. And this just goes on, it keeps going on. You know what I'm saying? Awareness, to me, you would imagine that would be the first step that you had to take. Awareness. And then you could battle the problem. How we battle the problem, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure we can come together on something. Donald Trump tweeted out fast trial on the death penalty. I don't know. That might be a good way to start. Alright. I guess we're going to go ahead and wind down the broadcast. We got about 10 more minutes to go. There might be some other stuff. I was looking around the Drudge Report to see the other things. Of course, this Donald Trump Jr. is having some sort of scandal. Rand Paul is saying that they're keeping Obamacare. Dude, they should have repealed Obamacare a long, long time ago. People are way too comfortable. This is true. Courtney Elwell says this. People are way too comfortable, especially in America. It's the things that people don't want to talk about that must be talked about. This is true. Or at least I think that's true. I would have to agree with that. Thing is, the Bible also says some stuff about, that will be the case. People just won't want to talk about it. Right will become wrong and stuff, and vice versa, and they're not going to want to talk to you about it. And that's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's going to happen to a lot of us out there. We're going to lose friends and family members and stuff like that, but we're going to gain certain unbreakable bonds throughout the internet as far as ideas, people sharing ideas. The Pope should have no authority on earth, in my opinion. See, okay, I think that's a good point to, wind down on. Courtney Elwell says that the Pope should have no authority on earth, in her opinion. It's a very valid point to make. Alright. But at the same time, me and Courtney at Elwell, we can both understand that the reality of the situation is actually that they have an unthinkable amount of money. And money is a real thing. Money does make the world go around. They have an unthinkable amount. Alright? So, Haroon Sohail. Haroon, hey, what's up, Haroon? He entered the chat room. Hi, what's going on? I wonder if you're from a different country, Haroon. You holler at me, if you will. The broadcast is going to end up in about 10 minutes. We're winding down. Just to introduce you into what we were talking about, Haroon. Courtney Elwell said that the Pope should have no authority on earth. That is a problem. Whether or not we want to acknowledge it, money is an authority. Money will get stuff done. Alright, so the Vatican has an unthinkable amount of money, which is synonymous for authority. So in a way, there is no arguing that they have extreme authority. Now, can they lose all their money? Assuredly. It's happened a lot. If you read the Bible and stuff, people lose everything they have, and it happens a lot. So, as far as their moral authority, of course they have none. All right, they've already proved themselves to be the worst of the worst, basically. As far as financial authority, it's unthinkable amounts. They have unthinkable amounts. All right, so we do need to consider them. You know what I'm saying? As much as they're not an authority, we should probably consider them a threat, to be honest with you. Because they do wield a lot of power still, even still. Because there's a lot of people out there who don't have the internet. And they're not aware of the goings-on like Haroon. A shout out to Haroon. I don't know where you're from, man. You know, you might be from San Antonio, Texas, for all I know. But maybe you do, or maybe you don't know about this scandalous stuff going on with the Vatican. Maybe you do or don't know about Caitlyn, Nicole Davis, and all the sort of little girls that are like her, man, who all get far less than they deserve. Far less. Alright, and that is unacceptable. Little girls and little boys, alright, little human beings out there, getting all abused and stuff, up and down, and side to side. Alright, and it is unacceptable. However, I believe, that there's a victory just recognizing that it is unacceptable. It's going on all over the place. I mean, while people want to get you very involved in other issues, and there's a lot of different other issues, man, that we could cover. I don't know that we will. But, I'm looking at the Drudge Report right now. And shoot, man. Bop, beep, 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 bop, beep, bop. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff about the healthcare bill and things like that, man. I guess if we're gonna finish on anything, we're gonna finish on this. There's lots of talk about the healthcare bill. There's lots of talks about immigration, this and that. There's still, for whatever reason, talk about Russia, stuff like that. People are talking about all sort of things. A lot of us are talking about the problem that is pedophilia. All right. I think what's important to note is that, there's certain things that are more important than other things. A lot of us probably consider pedophilia way more important than a lot of these guys who's running around bashing stuff up over there at the G20, setting cars on fire, and all sort of riotous behavior over there in Hamburg, Germany. If I understand correctly, it has something to do with the Paris Accord and the fact that we're withdrawing from it. Some sort of calamity, you know what I'm saying? There's more things that are more important. There's certain things that are more important here. You know what I'm saying? Such as the safety of children, the safety of our future, if you will. Alright, we can't let people distract us so much from what's truly important, because we could wind up spreading ourselves a little bit too thin. Alright, and we could wind up losing sight of what's really important. Let children like Caitlyn, Nicole fall through the cracks. We can't afford to do that anymore. So we do have to keep focused on these sort of topics. And not only that, we have victory already. A lot of people might get flustered, and I don't blame you. Me too, sometimes. get all flustered with all the things that we think about and we have to think about here in America and abroad. We get very flustered, all right? But in essence, we already have the victory of the conflict that we're thinking about that's consuming our minds, consuming our souls and our spirits. We already have the victory. We already won, all right? Because number one, the devil, he might control the earth, so to speak, metaphorically, however you want to take it. He might control the earth, but he does not control the past. Meaning, we've won the war. The devil can't change what it is, the good things that we've already done. All right, and if we continue to do good things, mostly just to look inside of ourselves and change ourselves, man. We see how the world could get ugly. We look inside of ourselves and we change that. We change that because we could do that every single day. We could be successful in it every single day. We'll start to notice our health becoming alleviated as we concentrate and focus on the things that are truly important on this earth, such as our health, such as our children. We're going to notice things falling into line. All right? Our health will become something that we don't have to worry about. Our children will be well taken care of. Our prosperity will just add unto itself, basically. And that's what the types of things that I'm experiencing right now. All sort of success on the internet, creating all sort of new friends. Wild, unimaginable success can be had through the tribulation. The tribulation is very tough times. It's liable to get to any of us and play with our emotions from time to time. Sometimes we need to be alone. All right, but yet and still we can have wild, unimaginable success when we look into ourselves and we find true peace and contentment. And we'll find that in our own day-to-day activities. What have we done in order to make the world a prettier place for people around us? What have we done? And when we understand that we've done a lot, we've tried our best, this is when we can go to sleep good at night. And I know a lot of people have trouble going to sleep. In fact, most people who I know can't go to sleep real well. And you'd be surprised, man. It has a lot to do with it. Once we pour ourselves into what's truly important and spend all our energy up on that on a day-to-day basis, we'll be able to go to sleep like little babies at night. All right? We'll have perfect health and stuff. We'll stop getting all this cancer and everything else, which is all part of the tribulation. It's all interconnected like this. All our problems, they do have an origination. That would be our sinful ways, our suicidal ways, our ways that are completely self-destructive. All right? And there's been formulas, and people have written it down in scriptures and all sort of writings about, how we don't have to live in such unnatural ways as we've been taught to, as we've been sincerely misled to do through our public schools and our televisions and things like that. We don't have to live this kind of way because, believe it or not, man, everywhere I look, someone in bad health. Number one, they have terrible digestion. They can't sleep at night. Just a whole plethora. They got skin problems, they got lung problems, they got heart problems. I know a lot of people, they got cancer problems, right? All they really need to focus on is the truth. And I know a lot of people who believe in Jesus and stuff, they die of cancer and this and that. It really doesn't matter because your life will have success. All right, by simply following the way of God. If you're afraid of Jesus and stuff like that, follow what's righteous, follow what's truthful, and change what's happening inside of you. All right, and the reason I suggest that is because I know we're going to become overwhelmed. We're going to hear about certain stuff in the news, and it's going to keep us up at night. It's going to make our blood boil and stuff. Meanwhile, you know what that's going to lead to is a damn heart attack. Right? It's going to lead to our bad health. And we can't afford for that. We do have to dive back into our natural ways, all right? And I got a lot of videos on that. I know this guy, Mark, Maitre Mark, she's got a lot of videos over there in Tasmania. And I know a lot of people who are talking about, let's bring it back to how we naturally were. Right? Let's center ourselves. Let's become stronger. Even throughout the tribulation, and we are balls deep up in it. This is the end of the broadcast, you guys, and I want to thank y'all, Courtney, Haroon. I want to thank y'all out there. Haroon might be a robot, and I hope that he isn't, but he could be. I want to thank y'all out there for participating. And shoot, man, I'm going to see if I can't get a schedule behind these live streams. That way everybody can coordinate. And, you know, maybe we can get some stuff together. I'll let y'all know I do have the technology to get on the live stream. And maybe we can figure out, you know, if I can split screen. I doubt it, but I'll holler at y'all. It's actually July the 12th, 2017.